All of you being here tonight. It's Monday, May 15th, and this is our regular board meeting. It's our second meeting this month, and we had a work session last week, and this is our regular board meeting. If you will, I ask you if you'd like to at this time to join us in a moment of silence, please. Amen. Tonight, I know it's a very, very busy time of the year for all of our students, but particularly our high school students, and we are pleased to have two students from Seneca High School with us tonight. They're going to lead us in the pledge. Annabelle Bowling and Luke Blewell. If y'all will come forward, we do appreciate you being here. If you'll stand with me, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And we're going to hear a little bit about them in just a few minutes. At this time, I'd like to have an approval of tonight's agenda, the agenda for May 15th, 2023, regular board meeting. Any additions, any changes? All right, great. Then we will approve that with no objection. So, we do have some special recognitions.
Mr. Warlick,
Okay,
orchestra teacher.
great. Thank you for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is David Warlick. I'm the orchestra teacher at Seneca Middle and Seneca High School. And I would like to bring to the attention of student Luke Blewell a really fine accomplishment that he has achieved. And it's not one that many in the state have done so. He plays violin. He started playing violin when he was 6 or 7 years old. And we have Region Orchestra and All-State Orchestra, which are auditioned groups. The Region Orchestra comprises of Anderson, Pickens, Oconee, and Greenville County. And it's a competitive audition. Students go into, they learn the music, they go into a room, it's a blind audition, it's a lot of pressure, you hear all this stuff. He was accepted to the Region Orchestra for 7 years in a row, and then those students get a chance to audition against students across the state. So we're talking Columbia, Charleston, the Rock Hill area. Again, 7 years in a row that he's made it from 6th to 12th grade. This year, they realized that he and one other student had accomplished that, and they're trying to think back, it really is like less than 5 or 10 that have done it across the whole span. So, Luke, if you would come up very quickly, please. He was awarded this, or recognized, it's an interesting name, Septenary Award, that he, congratulations, 7 years of all-state orchestra. It's a huge accomplishment, so congratulations.
Y'all mind taking a step down and we'll get a picture for the website.
He asked if he could play, but I said, don't worry about it.
All right, everybody in a straight line. I think y'all can all fit right there in a straight line. Right.
Yours is probably better than what I'm doing. You're more important. I see all the glare off the lights. It's not doing like it needs to.
Sorry, I'm not done yet, but there now.
All right, let's try
I
that.
hope you got a good one.
Portraits.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a huge deal. It's a huge
And Miss McCormick? Miss McCormick? Hey, if y'all want to stay,
And thank you.
we'll do. If y'all want to stay,
Okay,
I bet that Ms. Moore can come recognize our next students, and we might can do a picture with them as well. Luke, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Awesome.
Good evening. My name is Cassie Moore, and I am the chair of the Teacher Forum Committee. And And this is Ms. Snyder, Amy Snyder. She is our current District Teacher of the Year. I'm the past District Teacher of the Year. But we had this incredible task of interviewing these phenomenal young people in our district for scholarships. And just let me say that it was one of the hardest things that we've done everybody was so incredible. We were extremely proud. And I just want to say publicly that our teacher cadet programs are amazing. And if this is the future of education in Oconee County, we have a lot to look forward to. So I am incredibly proud of the teacher cadet programs that we have in our district. Like I said, it was a very tough assignment, but we did come up with 3 award recipients. Jacob Renzo from West Oak High School. Such an honor to meet you, Jacob. And Val Rowling from Seneca High School.
Congratulations.
And Carly Ganson from Walhalla High School.
And all of you family members, if you don't normally look at the district YouTube channel, you can go to the website and click on the school board link, and you can get all of this. There's a camera up above the clock in the back that records this, and it will have all the audio, so you can go later on. So.
Well, this is great. Congratulations to all of these students. And now we will continue on with our school highlights. And I don't know what order you're going to do them in. Right now I have Steve Moore first with adult ed.
Well, what's the order act to follow? Just being ahead of Tracy or just following up with our students? Because what a wonderful job, and as Luke is going out there, I remember those days of being in the order. So, awesome. I did not make any mistakes, so we'll go from there.
What do you want me to
Pass those around because there's gonna be a test. And everybody just gets one. Guys, I'm not gonna read through this. It's just something for you to share and to look at later on as information. As you know, I'm gonna speak from the hip because the passion or whatsoever that other people feel, you'll hopefully understand what I'm talking about when you see numbers and things for yourself. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to share about Oconee adult education. What an awesome and privilege it is to be a part of something to where you get to see young people. And everybody's a young person because they're younger than me. But just to see people who have an opportunity to achieve an accomplishment that they didn't get through a normal path. And Oconee Adult Education is a representative of Oconee County with the partnership of the school district, because together we have the opportunity to make sure that we have students who finish within a 5-year period, which that partnership helps our graduation rates. But it also helps out because hopefully we're preparing people to come out and be productive citizens because of maybe choices they made, or just because the traditional path just wasn't right for them. And it's okay. And that's part of what we do at Oconee Adult Education, is to let them realize that when you finish, you have accomplished a wonderful, great thing. With that in mind, I want to highlight 2 specific things this year. Again, let me remind you, the information which you have right there are just numbers and things. I don't need to share statistics. You can look at that. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or talk to me later. And just know that, again, the most awesome thing is coming up next Tuesday night. We get the opportunity to share with the county our graduation, and It starts at 6 o'clock. It'll be at Walhalla High School. And as you can see right there, as it comes around, you're all invited. And we look forward to that. The two highlights I want to share with you tonight are programs which we're working toward, we're working on, and hopefully we're going to see come to great fruition in the future. Before December, we were approached by Andrea Kessler, along with Dr. Thorson, about how we could expand our ESL program working with migrants coming from the South American area and possibly other places, even with the Mexico area, all that area. So we had 10 people who came to us through as a migrant program, and we started our program in January. We've been meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Blue Ridge Elementary School, and we start at 6 o'clock, and we go as close to 8 o'clock as possible because they're very tired from working all day long, but we try it. And with the help of Carla Rogers, our lead ESL person, Gloria Valdezon, her instructor, and then we brought on a new person, Miss Carolina Padilla, who is an elementary school teacher at Walhalla Elementary. And those three together have really been working to help those migrants learn the English language. It's been very slow. It's been very trying because it's different from what we have been able to be a part of before. It's not your typical Hispanic language or whatever you would like to call it. Thank goodness that these two ladies, Carla and Carolina, were fearless. They just approached it, worked it well, and I went to class, but I didn't understand anything that was going on. And it's quite okay. All I did was talk to Carla and Carolina afterwards, and they would explain to me what was happening. They would look at me sometimes, the students would, and they would say something, and everybody would start laughing, and I was like, okay, I hope that was good. But anyway, the point is they have improved from learning how to say and pronounce their name English-wise. That sounds weird, but it was different. You would think a name is a name, but not necessarily. Learning how to pronounce and write the address of where they live in Seneca, how to write their telephone number, and how to understand how to call 911, which they have done a couple of times. So, progress. I remember Carla saying to me, Steve, I've got to do a pre-test on them, which some of you are very familiar with that. And usually the pre-test might take 20 minutes or longer, especially the pre-test, and then it gets longer at the end. Well, after the first 3 or 4 people came in, went with Carla to do the pre-test, and they were back in less than 2 minutes, I thought to myself, we're in trouble. As Carla looked, and she came back in the room and smiled, and she said, we'll have gains at the very end. And all of a sudden, the checkbox became gold for us, so to speak. So we are going to continue that program. We're working with Andrea to carry it on out through June, probably virtually or through some kind of a digital platform, allowing them to be able to work because their work schedule has gotten longer, as you probably would understand being in landscaping and such. So we're going to carry on that program that way. We'll take the month of July off, and then we'll start it back up in August. And hopefully we'll even probably expand that program a little bit more. So we appreciate that opportunity and look forward to what's next. The second program is kind of in the infant stages. Working with Dan Holman and Mike Crenshaw, we're going to look at how we can expand adult ed into the correctional or the detention center. How we can work with people to help them to achieve and earn their GED in hopes to a better future, whether it be Tri-County or some type of better job of good employment once they move beyond where they are, their situation. We've been in those discussions and talk for a while, trying to figure out what the cost was, how it is. And again, just want to give a thank you to Dr. Thorson, as he's been working as well through this behind the scenes. But he has worked with me, and we've come up with an idea of how we're going to make this work and happen. And we look hopefully forward to an August start date. I've got a teacher who is willing to work with me, go into the detention center twice a week, 1 time a week, and then we will go from there because we're able to do TABE offline and starting to do some of the testing there. The only problem we'll have is our GED testing has to take place on our site, but we'll work with Mike and Dan to see how we can better serve them as well. So two big projects that I think are highlights of what we have done besides just graduates the regular way. And we hope that Oconee Adult Education will continue to grow beyond whenever I'm here and gone or whatever, because Oconee Adult Education is much bigger than one person. We are so fortunate and blessed to have a group of instructors who, being retired, giving up of their time and giving back beyond whenever they were working for the school district. And if it weren't for them, Oconee Adult Ed would not be what it is. They allow me the opportunity to be Steve. And that right there is so much fun. Because with that process, it gives me a chance to talk, interact with people, talk and interact with people from the outside, such as Mike and others, the Rotary clubs, and to see what we can do to expand adult education. With that, I say thank you again. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. The tests are in the back. Feel free to take them whenever you're ready, okay?
Right.
Guys, thank you once again.
Thank you, and thank you for those new programs. The innovation is just, it's great. It's some, I know some areas that really need some attention, and we just appreciate you bringing that to us. And, you know, we always look forward to your graduations.
But we
Thank you.
appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're not taking the test.
You can keep those if you want to.
And now, Tracy Long, it's good to see you.
Hey, good to see you.
Buttons on the side.
Thank you so much for having me tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to come share about our program at Oconee Academy. I'm the director of the alternative school. Was tasked with taking this on, revamping it, and we're 7 years in with me at the leadership, and hopefully continuing to grow, get better with it every year. Puts together some slides, some things that we do. We do work on behavior, we do work on attendance, and we work on grades, and we, you know, jokingly tell the kids, do you have it in the bag? And those are our 3 things. But I think more importantly, some of the things that we do beyond that makes the difference in our students' lives, because ultimately we want them to be contributing members to our community. And by doing some things that we do there, we do a lot with life skills, service learning, and some character ed. And I believe wholeheartedly that we need to be as hands-on as possible, get the students out, get them in the community. So as you see, Ms. Moss is one of our middle school teachers. That's part of our life skills. We have a partnership that we've had with Grace's Closet for several years where we help them launder the donations and so forth. But we kind of added this component once we moved to our new location. We're doing some just basic cooking, so that mainly so our young men will quit eating ramen noodles and actually learn how to cook some just basic recipes. So you'll see some of that. We also did some things with adult ed this year with these students, and actually cooked some meals for some of the small children that are in his program. And our kids will go over and play on the playground as well with them, just giving them those learning experiences. But we also do field trips. This year, this is actually a picture of where we went to Oconee Station and the falls, and, you know, we made it a big collaborative. We did the history, we also did the science, and then we hiked and did service as far as picking up and cleaning up along the trails. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about that field trip, but it was a precursor into something else that was exciting that we got an opportunity to do. But again, Ms. Moss does some arts and crafts during that life skills session. We had a large group of middle school girls. That was right up their alley. And just give them some time to talk and interact appropriately with one another. Mr. Cooper is our social studies teacher. He's planned field trips at some of the museums in Greenville and so forth. Brings the history alive, brings in the uniforms, some of the muskets and some of the historical things that he has access to by being part of the museums and donating his time as well. Science, Ms. Gardner has been a new addition to our staff this year. And with her come a wealth of experience, but she gets real hands-on with the kids. She goes in, we do experiments, and she also does the service learning through the greenhouse, and we also have chickens. We got a new addition. We thought was a new hen. I think it's not so much a hen. I think instead of little chick, they're calling it Oscar, I believe, right now, so that's a concern. But as you can see, two young men, they actually took the doors off the chicken coop and fixed that, and excited about that. And then there again is another celebrating Cinco de Mayo, and the kids actually cooking and preparing things. And that was the challenge, cookie challenge. It was the guys versus girls, and we had to pick who cooked the best cookies. This is what I was alluding to earlier. We were one of the schools in the state that actually got the trout program. And they brought the aquariums in. We got eggs. It was quite the process. I wasn't exactly expecting what it became, and neither was Miss Gardner, but it's a win because we still had fish at the end to release, and that's always because, from what I understand, several schools had to request fish to meet them there so their kids could release, but we actually had plenty still there. But we went to the fish hatchery, we learned about the fish and everything, and you know, we were concerned with the amount of fish that we had lost, and we were told that we had an excellent rate of keeping the fish alive. So that was a great experience for the boys and girls as well. And then we also have another partnership that we just started this year with South Cove, their 50th anniversary. They asked for some help. Our kids went down. We helped beautify the grounds. It's now becoming something where we're going to go once a month, work with the Rangers, and try and keep that. And thanks to Phil Shirley for working with me and going through the ropes and trusting us to make a difference there for them as well. And then last week, we actually went and State Park and released the fish. It was really neat because the kids actually sat down, they did all the experiments on the water, tested the alkaline, they tested, you know, the temperature, finding the spot to release the fish. Also, we had some gentlemen that were there and they actually taught them to fly fish. They actually came to the school, we practiced. It was not the best day for that. It was quite breezy that day, but they did do a phenomenal job, and the kids really loved it. So the more hands-on we can be, the better it is for our students. And I think those simple tasks throughout their experience with us at the alternative school turns it into a positive where we can help grow these young men and women to be more contributive members to our community and understand that everybody makes mistakes, but it's how you bounce back from it. And very proud of what we do each and every day at Oconee Academy. I appreciate our district leadership for tasking me with this and always being supportive of me. And thank you to the board again for the opportunity to come speak to you tonight. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay, what you do. How many students do you have there?
We've worked with, I would say, about 90 students. Right now we're at 52, I think. It's an ebb and flow. Sometimes it's top-heavy middle school. Sometimes it's top-heavy high school. Right now it's high school. It can come from everybody has misconceptions about it. It winds up being almost an equal third, has been my experience from the 3 attendance areas. Again, it's an ebb and flow. And most of the students come and they thrive in the smaller environment. And, you know, I'll just do one shameless plug. If we can, you know, grow the program to be more proactive and less reactive and find the students that actually thrive in that environment, that nurturing setting, then we could probably help more students. And that we could keep them in school and not at adult ed with Mr. Moore. Not that he doesn't want numbers,
That's our job.
but I think our program is hitting the mark and could make a big difference in a lot more students if we had that opportunity.
Great.
Okay. Thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. All right, we always enjoy school.
We really appreciate both of you being with us tonight.
Do we have anyone?
No.
All right, we will move on then with the approval of the minutes, and these are the minutes from the April 17th, 2023 work session and regular meeting. Y'all got those earlier in the week. Anybody have any changes? All right, then they will be approved with no objection. And now, Dr. Thorslin, for your superintendent's report.
Thank you, and I'm actually gonna hand off and let Ms. Dodd share this summer family newsletter, because this is one of those things that she has taken and run with, and it's a very, very good publication for our families, just as we approach the summer, to keep them informed of what they need to be looking for over the summer and getting ready for the fall.
So what you're looking at is a Google slide presentation, but in the form of a newsletter. The link will look like this. They won't have to choose share or present. It will look like this. Each of those icons are interactive. So the first page is just some general information. It'll let them know when school starts. It talks a little bit about the change in our calendar. We talk a little bit about your clear bag policy. We've let parents know about the sheriff's gun safe. So just some general information that would help them for next year. We have a page for registration dates, so parents can know what days they'll need to be at their schools. We have a page, we kept a couple pages from last year. We kept our student attendance page because we're still struggling to get kids to be in school. And this information just helps parents understand what those policies are and why they need to be in school. We kept our vape information page because I know you've heard us talk that we're still struggling with that. So there's some pictures to help parents identify vapes. We updated our statistics for this year. And again, just trying to keep that front and center. We have a student payment and meals page. It gives information about our summer meals. It gives a little information about the fact that we've applied for the community eligibility provision and we're waiting on approval, but it includes information on high school cost for meals for next year. And it'll introduce to our families the change from school pay to My School Bucks. So just so that they're aware of that. We have a technology page that's an addition this year to give a little information about our transfer from Clever to ClassLink, but also to put front and center part of the policy that y'all be voting on and are looking at in the student handbook about actually assigning specific consequences for Chromebook damage. So that's the technology page. And then this year we also added a page for mental health resources. We know that's an area our students are struggling. And our Student Behavioral Health Committee has done a great job in putting together a resource guide. And this page just kind of highlights some of that information. It gives a save the date for our Hike for Hope in the fall. But it gives mainly a link to the resource guide that's already been put together. So this information will go out to the public next week. Elementary school kids will get a half sheet piece of paper that's got a QR code to both the English and Spanish version. It'll of course go on our website. We'll do a messenger call. We'll share with the media, and it'll be on our social media. Trying to think of every way we can to connect our families. So hopefully this information helps them transition into next year, kind of knowing ahead of time some of the changes that are happening. But if you have any questions or you can think of something else that maybe in the future we can add to this, but the goal is really just to make sure that we're communicating as much as possible, being transparent about what's going on. So hopefully it's a positive thing for our families and community. Yes, ma'am.
You may have said this and I may have been writing and missed it. Did you say you were emailing the link to parents?
Yes, we'll do all of those. We'll do a messenger call, which often then includes an email that goes with that call. And then, sending papers home with middle and high school isn't as effective. That's why we can do it with elementary. But they'll get a call about it. It'll go to their email that's in PowerSchool if they've signed up for our calls. But then also it'll go on our social media. And honestly, the newspaper was great last year and published a lot of what we printed in there. And both our local radio stations talked about it on there too. So overall, we had a pretty good response to it last year. So that's all.
That's great. Very creative, lots of information. Mr. Handy, Code of Conduct.
Yes, and so, after how many years I've had, a month before she leaves, I'm learning from Ms. Simmons still. I watched her when she went through a policy change and had her notes, but I actually made you guys a cheat sheet and put it at your table, because it's 20-something pages, and I didn't want us to have to go through and just keep flipping in that. So these are all the changes that we're asking you to approve in the Code of Conduct. These have come out of meetings that Ms. Hughes has had with all the assistant principals in the district who typically handle the discipline at the school level. If you remember last year, I came to you and asked to up the ante for us with the vaping, and told you that I may come back, after 9 weeks. Well, we didn't come back after 9 weeks, but we're coming back after a year, and we're still asking again that we up the ante a little bit more with our tobacco policy and the problems that we're having with vapes and such. It's not so much now cigarettes and smokeless tobacco and that. It's vapes are the number one issue at this point. So if you look on there, page 1, under the drug paraphernalia, we're adding the inhalants and vaping. It's down at the bottom of that page. Then we jump all the way to page 10 before there's another change. The section is now tobacco and vape use and possession instead of just tobacco. We also are taking out the language about middle school and making it for any student who violates the tobacco and vape use possession rule. Now, let me clarify that on the punishment part, because our handbook and our policy does give elementary principals a little more discretion. But we're seeing this problem at the elementary school with them bringing vapes as well. So we just wanted to eliminate that part. There is a little bit of discretion, though, as far as jumping straight to the punishment. Page 11, here you'll see what the recommendation from the assistant principals and Ms. Hughes would be. First offense, instead of in school, would be 2 days of out of school for tobacco, vape use, or possession. You'd also get a blue ticket from law enforcement, which means you would go to the magistrate's office and pay, it's like $109, $119. There's a fine that goes with it. And then they can often also assign community service for that. And the first time we have an after-school program that our social workers do, and we would have them participate in that as well. The second offense would go to 5 days out of school, placed on a discipline contract, and then there's another blue ticket involved from law enforcement. And then third offense, it would basically be 10 days and a recommendation for expulsion, which means they end up at Oconee Academy and a blue ticket. We had a student in here about 3 or 4 weeks ago. He was on his 5th offense for vaping, being caught with a vape. That's just when we caught him. So we want to eliminate that, and the constant just coming and back and coming back and coming back. And we hope that it stops them from doing it. Page 13. Under the skateboard, skate, scooter section, we added rollerblades because somebody said, well, rollerblades aren't in there, so we can use those. And we said, no, you can't. So we would like to add rollerblades. Page 15, we added a vandalism, destruction, defacing, or theft with a value of $50 or less. We have had one already for more than $50, so we want to get that in there because we do have some of those instances. Also on page 15, it would be where we remove the current consequences for the tobacco use and the possession rule. It's all been all the strike throughs. On page 17, possession of marijuana, illegal drug section, we would add the language that says illegal drugs could also be contained in any type of vape, gummy, edible, pipe, or other device used to inhale or ingest a substance. Again, a lot of people, when they deal with discipline, the first thing somebody says is, well, where's that policy? Show me that in policy. And so we're trying to cover any loopholes that might be in there for those. And gummies and things have also become a problem for us. We've had to have multiple kids who have gone to the ER this year because of ingesting gummies. And then on page 18, we added in Power Code 027 and defines threat. Threats may be towards students, staff, or the school, and may be spoken, written, or posted on social media. And anyone who perpetrates or helps spread the word or that, or kind of makes it run wild like wildfire and spreads it through social media, is also subject to discipline. So those are the major changes in it. Everything else is pretty much the same. The technology stuff that Ms. Dodd showed will be in our handbook. It's not part of policy. It's also on our technology use agreement is where that shows up, that the folks sign up when they do our registration. So that'll be in that. But if you have questions about the code of conduct, I'm happy to answer those. And we've got to bring it up 2 more times, so.
Questions tonight? All right, thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Okay.
All right, we have several action items. The first one is local board working position, and I think we pretty well covered that. Does anybody have any questions on that policy that we covered? Okay, great. Anybody need to hear anything about it again? Okay. All right, then, if I could have a motion to approve the local board approved course that has been submitted by the administration.
So moved. Second.
Any more discussion at all? All in favor? All right, the second one is the first reading approval of policy KFD, clear bag at district events. Again, I think that was a brand new policy.
It is. We adopted the procedure. We didn't put it in policy. We adopted the procedure during fall football seasons when we first started that. So we've been using it throughout the year at athletic events and other events. This just kind of came from the School Board Association as a model policy, and Ms. Hughes compared it to what she and Ms. Dodd had worked on, and it was very similar. And so we would like to make it official policy.
Okay.
Pretty consistent with just about any large-scale event that you attend these days.
All right, any comments, any questions on that?
So I know I brought this up last week, but since then I've had a couple more people ask, for this year's graduation, it's saying no bags for the sake of getting people in and out, through the gates. But are we allowing clear bags if we pass this tonight? Would that?
No,
No.
it's not.
No bags.
Yeah, no bags.
Okay.
Again, there's the medical, those kind of things, but even to have enough people to watch the clear bags go through at that rate would be from 7:30 to 8:30. We would have people seated when graduation was ready to start. We just don't see any way to do it. Actually, the schools, and I sent them an email today about it, the schools are assigned with kind of doing the gate work. The SROs will be doing other things. There'll be 6 at each place, but they'll be doing other things, and they're only to be called if there's an issue. So that's kind of why we want to do that.
Steve, is the feedback that you get on the use of these, is it pretty positive from most everybody?
On the clear bag,
Clear bag?
we haven't had a lot of complaints. Some people have to make a trip back to the car, and take something back and that. But overall, the schools have not let me know that there has been a major problem, misuse. We'll go sometimes and watch at the gate while they go through, and it doesn't seem to be a major issue for anybody. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like it, but for the most part, I think people understand why we do it, and it's important enough that they're okay with it.
Well, and it's as you say, you can't go to many events without this policy being in effect. So it's kind of standard. All right. If I could have a motion then that we accept policy KFD, clear bag at district event, first reading.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve policy KFD, clear bag at district event on first reading.
Second.
Second. All right, any more conversation at all? All right, all in favor? All right, and it's accepted on first reading. And at this time, it's time for our second reading of the FY24 and budget. Is anything any
The
different?
figures are consistent with the public hearing last week. We did see today in the legislative update, there is no traction on the budget right now, but there is new revenue found at the state level. It doesn't appear as though any of that is gonna trickle its way to schools at this time, so we don't really have any reason to believe that the revenue picture would be different right now. So we're gonna stick with the plan and get through.
And we do go to county council for their first reading tomorrow night. So the budget, if you approve on second reading, that's what we'll be taking across the street. And it is actually, we went to a finance committee meeting of council, and it is a little bit different than what we presented to them.
It is, yeah. It is, the ask for the funding from the county is reduced by $600,000 from the first read that we. And so that was what was presented last week at our public budget hearing, but the county has not seen that for their first read yet. That'll be tomorrow.
So if I'm correct, it was 50,300,000 going down to 49.7.
49, yep. And as of this week, our current year's collections exceed that value. So, very reasonable request in our opinion.
All right, anybody have any?
Administrator, the two, remember what I had asked if you could explain how.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Dr. Ketterman and I just discussed, and similar to what Ms. Holder asked me to explain last week, but I'm pretty careful about trying not to add positions at the district office. And obviously with Ms. Simmons leaving and us hiring 2 assistant superintendents, one to do elementary, one to do secondary, that looks like you're replacing one person with 2 people. And we will be for a period of 6 months, but there is another administrator retiring from the instruction department. That retirement will take place at the end of the calendar year, and that person will not be replaced at that time. So the 2 people that'll be stepping into Ms. Simmons' role will still replace 2 current FTEs. So while it is a position change, it won't be an added FTE to the district staff here. So.
Thank you.
All right, I would like to have a motion that we approve on second reading the FY '24 general fund budget.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. Second.
Second.
All right, any more discussion, any more questions whatsoever? All right, all in favor? Okay, and that is approved unanimously. And with that, that is the end of our meeting tonight, except for, we do leave some time for board member comments if anyone has any that they would like to make. All right, then I would like to have a motion that we go into executive session, personnel items, employment recommendations and changes.
Move.
Okay. All in favor? All right, then we will go into executive session.